Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Thank you so much, everybody who is still listening to us. We got a lot of people in social media that was with us. People, if you want to be down with us by phone, call us up at 804-402-2893 to be down with the flagship show right here on LegacyInternetRadio.com. As we do at this time of the show, every single week, we always profile a missing and or exploited child. This week is, in fact, no different. This week's child is Nakia Katharina Phillips. She's an endangered runaway. She is missing from Frederick, Maryland. She's been missing since December 4th, 2013. She's 14 years old, once again from Frederick, Maryland. Black female, medium complected, long hair, shoulder length. She's 5 foot, weighs about 100 pounds with brown eyes and brown hair. She was last seen about 7 a.m. in the Frederick area on December 4, 2013. She's 14 years old. Her date of birth is January 1st, 1999. She is believed to be a runaway. Police believe the girl is still in Frederick based on the information that they have already received. If you have seen Nakia Katharina Phillips, please contact blackandmissinginc.com. Contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children on their website, missingkids.com, or contact them by phone at 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. Please bring home Nakia Katharina Phillips and all of our missing and or exploited children. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. All right, at this time, we like to move into our segment that makes us all say, what the hell is going on? And I'd like to introduce a friend of the show, first time joining us, my sister from Virginia Union University, the author of the blog, What Jackie Says. We got Miss Jackie on the live line with us tonight. What's up, sis?
What's up, Marcus? Thank you for having me at What Jackie Said at .wordpress.com. Please check it out, guys.
You got it.
Yes, Marcus. What the hell? I am so upset about this guy, Chief Keef. He's coming out with this new album. He's already came out with it, and he says that his new mixtape is going to increase the murder rate.
Increase the murder rate.
It's going to increase the murder rate. Now, first of all, he's already a part of that gang lifestyle and gang lounge that's happening in Chicago that's going on. I'm just pissed off that a person who has a message like this could get the backing of Interscope Records. My problem is not with Chief Keef, because I understand that Chief Keef is basically a product of his environment. If you ever look at any of his videos and see anything he does, the boy stays high. You don't even understand what he's saying. But the scary part is that he gets millions and millions of views and hits, and he's making money. Of course I have a problem with that, but my biggest problem is with Interscope Records.
Now,
how is it that you put $8 million behind somebody who have a message with that? My question with Interscope Records is, what is your agenda?
well, let me ask you. Let me stop you, Jackie.
Let me say this because you know Marcus and I know.
hold tight. Hold tight. No. Slow down. Let me ask you this. Okay, let me ask you this, because my big thing on this show is we can talk about issues all we want. We can complain, we can fuss, we can talk. But unless we're willing to actually do something, then you might as well just shut the hell up. You're not shutting the hell up. You're not shutting the hell up. Well, obviously you're talking. So what you gonna do?
If you're not a part of the problem, if you're not a part of the solution, then you're a part of the problem. What I've done is just something small that I hope that will become something big. If I started a petition, like I said, if you go to whatjackiesaid.wordpress.com, there's a link there to a petition that petitions Chief Keef and Interscope Records. So what I'm doing is I'm asking Interscope Records to please stop the selling and promotion of Chief Keef and his murder music. It's like, I am so appalled that they would even back somebody who have a message like this. Don't get it twisted. I know Interscope about making their money, but all money is not good money. And in my opinion, the money that they're getting off of this guy is what I call blood money. And you know, black people, we can't let anybody do anything to us. They don't care about us. He doesn't care that this guy will get on the radio and say so. I mean, how blatant and disgusting is this? My question is, does this young boy work for the KKK?
Wow.
Does he work for the KKK?
Well, let me hold on. Let me stop you. Because what I want to do is I want to get the crew. So I'm gonna have you hold tight for a second. What I want to do is I want to get the crew in. I'm gonna come back to you in a minute because we've talked. You ain't gotta apologize. You ain't gotta apologize. Don't worry about that. I love the passion because too often there is no passion in people when they're talking about issues, and oftentimes people don't talk about nothing unless it's scandal, which we did, but we've obviously moved on to more serious stuff. We talked about Chicago.
One thing about our people, we are reactive. We are not proactive.
No,
we're not
true.
doing nothing until it's in front of our door, and we at a funeral somewhere protesting, or we have, a guy like the young man. What's his name? Forget who I'm talking about with the hoodie.
Oh, Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon, yeah, it's always after the fact. We need to start being a little bit more proactive about our youth, more proactive about the situations that's going on in our community. I understand that a lot of us move away from those situations, but understand this. If we don't start cleaning up what's going on, it's going to be at our doorstep.
Let me get the crew in on this one. Let me just kind of set this up, Jackie. Stand down for a second.
Shut up, man.
Hey, just for a second. We talked about Chicago months ago here on Ain't No Half Steppin', Marcus J. having a high murder rate, and we talked about, we had different opinions on how that should be dealt with, which I don't want to kind of revisit now, but what I want to do is kind of get the crew's opinion on the fact that you got a singular rapper. He's an individual, and I do disagree on Chief Keef having any responsibility here, and I'm gonna speak to that in a minute, Jack. But I want to get the crew in their opinion with regards to Chief Keef, Chicago, murder rate, Carlton. I want you in on this one first. What's your thoughts about what you're seeing of this situation? What Jackie's comments are, and let me just set it up for those folks who are just joining us. Ain't No Half Steppin', Marcus J. live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio, 804-402-2893. We're talking to Jackie of What Jackie Says, the blog, and we're looking to have a petition to Interscope Records to stop the sale of Chief Keef's record, mostly because he is promoting it by saying that this record will increase the murder rate, and we know is a resident of Chicago, Illinois, and the murder rate in that town is absolutely out of control. So Carlton, as we've got it set up, I want you to jump in on this one right now. What's your thoughts, bro?
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm usually the protagonist in this situation. So first of all, have you heard the lyrics of this song yet?
Jackie is asking you if you heard the lyrics to the songs.
We gotta you have to hear the lyrics to the song?
I'm asking, yes. Have you heard the lyrics to the song?
He's asking if you...
I can't sit here and quote his lyrics word for word, but I have heard some of his songs. But all of his songs are violent. All of them are, talking about drugs. And he even has one, it's a petition put out there on the internet. It was made by some ladies in Chicago to ban him for playing in their school. And the lyrics say something about it. Basically, if a woman don't give her fellatio or head or whatever you call it, then he's going to shoot them. This is the type of stuff that he put out there. But don't get it twisted. That type of music is in a lot of rap music. Those type of messages are in a lot of music. But, and it's not okay. But, the fact that you can be so bold as to say that, my music is going to raise the murder rate, that, pisses me off. And I have to be, perfectly honest with you, I have not heard the CD. The CD is Bang 3, and I have not heard that CD. That's the CD he's talking about.
Carlton, where you going with that?
The reason I'm going there with that is because if he had not made that comment, would you feel the same way about the CD? I also preface that.
Hold on, Jack. Hold on. Let him finish. Go ahead.
I also preface that with the incident when the senator tried to get 2 Live Crew to ban certain lyrics or certain songs, and they really hit her hard with the freedom of speech. So those are the two things I'm asking you for your opinion on. And
go ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
As far as freedom of speech goes, I get it. But what happens when freedom of speech starts to destroy a society? It starts to destroy people, and influence. Well, what I'm trying to say. Basically, influence people in a negative way that they take negative actions. In fact, to me, I think it cut so hard because we know what's going on in Chicago right now, and for that type of music and that type of message to be able to fuel that fire, to me, it's like a slap in the face. I get what you're saying about a lot of different type of music having the same type of messages in their music. And my thing with music is that music, like people, everything must exist. But unfortunately, the music that we hear just don't have balance. I know that there's all types of lives out here. Everybody, have a lot of different things that they're going through or whatever, and they express that whether we like it or not. But at some point, you just have to be like, that's too much.
Let me stop you, Jack. Let me.
You know what? To be perfectly honest with you, I will say that I wouldn't have said anything if it was just talking about guns or whatever like that. I hate to say that because I'm a fan of 50 Cent. But just the fact that he said that, made that comment, and I just know how influential his music is. Because like I said, if you go Google him right now, he has millions and millions of followers.
Let me hold on. Let me stop you. Because I agree with you. I disagree that you need to hear the lyrics. I don't need to hear the lyrics of any rapper, singer, rock singer, reggae singer, pop singer. I don't care what your genre is. I don't need to hear anything you say after you say that my record will raise the murder rate up. Once you say that, I don't need to hear nothing else, because that tells me all I need to know about what I'm going to hear if I do take the time to actually listen. Big Rue, I want you to jump in here at this point. Jackie, stand by. What's your thoughts, bro?
First thoughts. Chief Keef is fairly whack to begin with.
I can't hear him. What is he?
I know you can't hear him. The hold tight. If he directs anything to you, I'll let you know what he says.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Chief Keef is horrible. I mean, I'm just going to be honest about it. The statement he made was purely to get buzz, whether negative or positive. He made that to get people to listen to him, because, to be perfectly honest with you, nobody listens to him. I mean, he's fairly terrible. He's had one single, which is kind of, it lasted for about a month. He's fairly terrible.
Hold tight, Jack.
But I will say this. I grew up in the age of the 2 Live Crew situation, so I understand. Also being one of those people who partook in the 2 Live Crew music and the NWA music, I also understand. I guess my opinion is I don't particularly have an issue with getting an injunction or whatever to stop his music. I don't. To be perfectly honest with you, I mean, that's your right as an American citizen and stuff like that. I mean,
did he just say he don't have a problem with somebody
that's not what he said. Basically, and for the listeners, because of the audio, the way it's set up, Jackie, the person on the phone, she can't actually hear everybody that's in the studio. Basically, what Big Rube is saying, basically what he's saying is, the whole freedom of speech thing, we've all kind of grown up based on our ages. We've all kind of grew up through the 2 Live Crew and the NWA period, and there's a freedom of speech thing. But there has to be some personal accountability here. And apparently there is missing personal accountability here, and the reality is Chief Keef is whack. While I agree with the general sentiment, we can think he's whack because we're all in our 40s or close to it, but the people that he is marketing to, they don't think he's whack. They think he's great. And the fact that they think he's great, they're the ones that's listening. I'm gonna jump around because I want to get SY in, and then my final comment from Jackie, and then we're gonna move on. SY, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are so all over the place. Like you were just saying, the audience that he has.
Jack, I know you can't hear her. Just hang tight.
The audience that he has, they may think she did say that he has such a large following. So him making the comment is to get those followers all riled up. Let's get ready to get this CD or this album. Now we're sitting here and we're talking about it, so somebody may be curious to know, what the lyrics are, what it's going to sound like. That's one more person purchasing it. He's doing whatever it takes to get you to listen to him. The people who are backing him, the record label, they're doing whatever it takes to get that money. If this is what they do, then they're not, sad to say, we can all sign the petition,
right?
But because there's so much of that music already out there,
it's difficult.
We've all heard it. He just made a comment to put it out there. Oh yeah, it's going to be some crap with my music. It's not gonna. I'm
gonna take the final word on this one. Basically, we know what the music industry is, and we've had debates in the past about the record labels putting music out there because people want to actually hear it. But you got to also remember that we live in a country where if you say something negative against a person of a different persuasion, a Jewish person, for example, you're going to catch all kinds of backlash. And the reality is the people who run a lot of these movie theaters and these record labels are Jewish people, 50-year-old Jewish people who are setting the sound list for these for these records on the radio and things of that sort. But it's okay that the artists say whatever they want to say about their own communities, but if they say anything about yours, that's a problem. And I think that our people need to be mindful of that, and they need to pay attention to that, because again, it's not a conspiracy, it's not a plan, and I can't impress that on people more.
Are you sure about that? That it's not a plan?
It's not a conspiracy. No. What I'm saying is it's not a conspiracy. It is a plan, because people who want to think that this all just kind of happened, and I know that I mentioned to you, Jackie, when we talked earlier, and I know that I had mentioned to the crew and we spoke on the radio about this alleged meeting that happened 22 years ago, where the people who ran the private prisons and the people who ran the record labels got together and they figured out how they could work together, and how they could work together was to kind of influence the masses based upon the music. But I want to end this part of the conversation. I want to move on to some other stuff. So Jackie, before I let you go, tell us one more time how we can get a part of your blog, how we can be down with you, and how the Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J listeners can keep up with you.
Okay, well, let me just say this. I understand about Chief Keef, but my issue really is with Interscope Records. And I say, if Interscope Records don't support us, then we shouldn't support them. If Interscope Records choose to support this type of music and this type of message, then we shouldn't support them. And you can hit my blog at www.whatjackiesaid.wordpress.com. Please go there and click on a link. And please sign my petition. Let our voice be heard. I know a lot of different people have a lot of different opinions about what's going on, but at the end of the day, enough is enough. That's just too much. Just too much. We love our kids and our youth just like they love theirs.
I can dig it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Jackie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Marcus.
We love your passion, and when something else comes up that just got you riled up, make sure you hit me up so we can have you back. All right?
Yeah, just not on the day that y'all discussing. Have a great one. Peace.
We'll wait for another day. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Thank you, sis. We'll talk to you soon. All right, folks. Let's keep it moving. As we do every single week on Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J, we talk about some stuff that make us all say what the hell, and usually it's got some socially conscious implications. And this next one, just like the last one, definitely does. Last week on, it was either Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember which night it was, but I was watching Arsenio Hall, which is what I do every single week, and I may be the only one that has come back to the brother, but I love the guy. I loved him when he was on before, and I love him now. But the reason why I'm bringing this up was a conversation that he had with the legendary Jim Brown. And basically what Jim Brown has alleged is that a lot of the youth, not so much the youth, but more so specifically, he kind of pointed out to Kobe Bryant, but he was talking about a lot of the athletes of today don't really have the kind of socially conscious impact that they had in his day. Of course, Jim Brown, an NFL legend, and he basically said that Bryant, because he spent much of his childhood in Italy, isn't familiar with black culture here in the United States. And basically what he said was, quote, Bryant is somewhat confused about our culture because he was brought up in another country. If I had to invite people, Black Athlete Summit, all over again, there'd be some athletes I wouldn't call, and he would be one of them. Kobe Bryant responded by saying it surprised him in the sense that it came out of left field. He never even met him, came out of left field, but I do think it's a great opportunity to have the conversation, to have the discussion, no matter where you come from, whether you come from Italy, whether you come from Inglewood, which is where, of course, the Lakers play, or whether you come from London. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, the conversation is that it doesn't matter what skin color you begin with, but I think it's a good place to start and have a good conversation. Ruben, I want you in on this one first. Basically, to kind of simplify the discussion, Jim Brown alluded to the summit that they had in the late 60s when you had people like Kurt Flood and himself and Lou Alcindor, later known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Muhammad Ali, who they were rallying around, who had just had his heavyweight title belt stripped from him because he refused to go fight in the Vietnam War. You had a stronger sense of socially conscious black athletes during those days versus today. You have virtually none. But for the Miami Heat, who all rallied behind the Trayvon Martin thing when they had their hoodies on and they all kind of made a point of being seen, being socially conscious in that way. But Jim pointed out to Kobe Bryant, and I think Kobe just happened to be the figurehead, but I think he was speaking more of the overall generation. What's your thoughts on it, man?
I think that as much as I respect Jim Brown and I understand what he was talking about, I think Jim Brown is still in the late 60s, early 70s. The big issue with that summit was, you're right, they didn't, Muhammad Ali, or Cassius Clay as his name was at the time, he chose not to go to the Vietnam War, hence why he became Muslim and changed his name to Muhammad Ali. I felt like, as a fan of Kobe Bryant, at first I was very upset because I really felt like it was a unfair comment, and it was almost like he just felt like he had to make an example out of somebody, so he's going to take Kobe Bryant because it's easy. Kobe Bryant was born in Paris or overseas or whatever, and he came to Philly when he was a kid, so but he grew up in Philly, which is interesting because, obviously Jim Brown doesn't have an idea of, the Kobe history or whatever. I felt like he needed to take a shot, and I understand he wanted to get his opinion known, and he had a very good platform on our Senior Hall show. However, I feel like that I felt like as older as he's gotten, he has not become wiser. And I really felt like it was a comment that was completely unnecessary. I understand how he feels, but I feel like that thinking is so 30 years ago.
Carlton Banks, what's your thoughts on the situation, man?
I'm all for what Jim Brown said. Jim decided to speak his mind. He's always going to speak his mind. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. And if he doesn't like Kobe, hey, he doesn't like Kobe.
He doesn't like Kobe.
Well, it wasn't. I don't think it's the fact he didn't like Kobe. I think it's the fact that I think he basically said, "Hey, y'all players out here aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're glitzing and glamming, but you're not giving back to the kids and to the community, stuff like that." So what he did is like, okay, who can I really, to get my point across, who can I really talk about? Oh, Kobe wasn't born here.
Well,
Kobe one of the better NBA players.
Let me just kind of correct you on something, Ruben. Your assessment is accurate up to the point where he pulled Kobe out of the air. He was asked specifically about Kobe by Arsenio, so that's where that came from. Carlton, finish your point. SY, get in yours, and then I'll finalize it here. What you got?
Jim Brown was one of the greatest running backs of his time. He was very affluential in the black community. He still is affluential in the black community. He's pushing for more things for the black community, and he's calling Kobe out because what has Kobe done other than sell a pair of tennis shoes? What has he done for the community? You see pictures of NFL teams and a few other players who have outreach programs, who have foundations, who give to the community. You see that. But have you seen any of that for Kobe? Yeah, because I don't
So
care
was
for
this
Kobe.
this was directed to Kobe?
Arsenio asked him about Kobe specifically, and that was the comment that
So
ended
then
up
it
coming
was
out.
directed to
He was
Kobe
asked.
Bryant.
He was asked about Kobe.
So then that's
specifically.
why his comments came out. I didn't hear it. I don't watch Arsenio. I'm not a fan at all. But I think his comments may have come out just listening to what you all are saying that way, because it was Kobe and because maybe he didn't hear anything positive. Maybe he's only hearing all the negative stuff, all the trouble that Kobe's been getting into or whatever the case may be. So that's where his comment is coming from. Should there, would there be somebody else sitting there who has done something? Maybe his comments would have been different.
I'm going to try to see if I can get the audio so that I can give folks an opportunity to actually hear it.
Kobe Bryant. He threw Shaq under the bus.
First thing he said was he threw Shaq under the bus.
Always honest with him. And he is somewhat confused about culture because he was brought up in another country. So it doesn't quite fit what's happening in America. Unbelievable athlete. Yes. Unbelievable athlete. But in the days when we had a summit we called the top black athletes together to talk to Muhammad Ali about his status with the armed forces, there were some athletes who didn't call. So if I had to call that summit all over, there'd be some athletes that wouldn't call. Kobe would be one of them.
So there you go. So basically what he was saying is if they had to call that summit one more time, there'd be some athletes that he wouldn't call. Kobe would be one of them. Based on how he initially starts off, when he's asked about Kobe, the first thing he says was he threw Shaq under the bus. So I think that there might be I don't want to say personal because they don't know each other, but, we can see people publicly who may do or say something that rub us the wrong way on a personal level, and that might be the basis of where his negative opinion comes with Kobe. Let me just say this. I agree with what Jim Brown said personally because of how I feel about how there's a dearth of athletes that are socially active today. When you look at the late 60s, when you had Kurt Flood and Jim Brown and Lou Alcindor and Muhammad Ali and their contemporaries, Bill Russell was in that crew as well. This was in the 60s when it just seemed like there was a stronger vein of social consciousness that went through everybody. Whereas now, when we have the financial resources to be able to do certain things and we don't do them, and this is my opinion, I guess I kind of, Jim didn't say this, but I would think that he would have alluded to this had he been given more time. A lot of it comes from fear of there being a backlash against them personally. I don't want to lose my endorsements. I don't want to have the people who, I play basketball against or I rap for or I make movies for feel some kind of way against me and not go see my movies. So I'm not going to say what I feel. And that sometimes upsets me because you already got your money. You got your money. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna not be the voice that you could be publicly, Ruben, because of what? And you can't tell me that in the 60s you had all of these socially conscious athletes, but in the 2013 era, we don't have none. Can anybody think of one guy or gal that's an athlete that's socially conscious to the point where their face is right in the face of the Trayvon Martin incident or anything like that. Not necessarily a race issue, but a social issue, because we do realize, well, at least I've realized that, race and class are interchangeable these days. So what's your thoughts on that? I mean, Carlton, for the rare situation, and I actually agree on this one, are we tripping? Do you think we're tripping? And if you do, tell me why, because I don't understand.
I do think we're tripping. Y'all tripping. I'm not going to sit here and say every NBA player is like, God's green earth and they do everything. There are some NBA players who do stuff. Like LeBron. LeBron, as much as I have my different feelings about him as far as being a basketball player, he goes back to Akron every year and he does stuff in the city where he grew up. He does stuff in Miami. Chris Paul has a foundation that he does stuff in Los Angeles and back in North Carolina and even in New Orleans where he was. Kobe Bryant, as we were talking about Kobe Bryant, he's a spokesman for the After School Foundation, which in 12 cities, they help them out with the low income kids, stuff like that. The thing about it is you don't see a lot of this parlayed on television. I think I guess my issue with Jim Brown was that, to be perfectly honest, I felt like he hasn't done his due research. Just because you don't see them on TV all the time saying, "Hey, I gave money here. Hey, I gave money there." That does not mean that that the players don't give back money. I mean, we see all the NBA Cares commercials all the time. So the fact that he can say that they don't give anything back is a lie. Number one. Number two, I feel like that, once again, just like Chief Keef, he wants to be heard. He wants people to talk about him, and he wants people to get out there and say, "Hey, why are these players not doing anything?" So you're basically telling me that when I give $5 to Salvation Army, I need to make a commercial about it. And I feel like the situation is he assumes they do nothing, and because he assumes they do nothing, they don't do anything. I mean, I just went on the Wikipedia and I saw that Kobe Bryant does this, and this. And I'm just kind of like, you could have done that. You could have typed in Google. And for any player, you can go and see what they do for at least the big players. I can't speak for Shaggy P, but I can speak that, people do stuff. And my feeling is that, they just really, I don't like the comment that he made, because I feel like the comment comes from a feeling instead of fact.
No, I can dig it, and
I don't dislike Jim Brown. I just felt that comment, even whether it been a Kobe Bryant or LeBron James, whoever, I feel like that was a uninformed comment. And now, once again, as he has done, the news has taken it and ran with it, when that is completely not a fair comment. At least in the NBA, and even in the NFL, it is completely not a fair comment.
I think that the unfortunate thing, while you make a compelling argument, and based on the argument that you're making, I have begun to sway a little bit on my opinion, and I think that it's fair to change your mind. I think a lot of times people get so caught up in their opinion, they don't think that it's appropriate to ever change their mind. I think it's always appropriate to change your mind. So you have somewhat swayed me, and I appreciate your position on it. I think when we're looking at somebody like Jim Brown and somebody like Marcus J., and someone who has an issue with the athlete of today, I think it needs to be more visible. Because when you look at the way we are so, like, black people in this country, man, if we knew the kind of financial power that we had and we actually wielded our financial power, would be so much further away. When I can sit here week after week and talk about investing in us, and I get people that yawn and roll their eyes, and I get people that, ignore the Facebook posts, but if I put something that I want to talk about scandal, everybody wants to like it and share it. Like, that kind of annoys the hell out of me, because the reality is we got to actually do more. And the people who are in visual positions need to be the ones, because those are the leaders. You had Charles Barkley 20 years ago said, "I'm not a role model." Yes, you are, because no matter whether you want these people to follow you or not, they are going to follow you. And the unfortunate thing is, because of the position that you in, you have a greater responsibility than Carlton Banks has, than Big Rube has, than SY has, and what I have, because you're more visible. Whether it's fair or not is not the conversation. We can have a discussion on fairness later on. But the conversation that we're having now is, where you at? Michael Jordan, we know that you retired 10 years ago. And you ain't been relevant on the basketball court in even longer than that. But they still selling Jordans. Where you at, Michael Jordan? Seriously.
Yeah.
We know where Magic Johnson is, which is